yeah, I did change, and I'm really glad I changed.
This one's wife. Anything to say, Duchess? Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. This one's wife was recently in Nigeria. She's a princess of Nigeria now, don't you know? She's also 43% Nigerian. And as she talked to the children at the school, she explained, "I see myself in all of you." There we are. This one's wife very much sees that she has a connection with Nigeria. As you know from my previous videos, the revision of history with regard to the 43% is being utilised by the chameleon narcissist for the purposes of character trait acquisition and thereafter trying to in effect mirror a nation. To suggest that I'm like all of you, even though she disrespected them with regard to the way that she dressed, the way that she only really met dignitaries and didn't meet the masses, she has very little to do with Nigeria, apart from seeing it as a place that she can try and monetize by virtue of gaining followers there and having her activities in Nigeria filmed so that they can be published on Netflix. As is often the case with the narcissist, it's all about the saying rather than the doing. There are certain narcissists who are particularly industrious. This one's wife is not one of them. As a mid-range narcissist, her narcissism simply adopts the approach that if we can get it by talking about it rather than doing it, so be it. This is why this one's wife comes out with so many fridge magnet platitudes and a beige tsunami of word salad. She believes that what she has to say is important. She believes what she has to say is significant and unique. She is in awe of herself. When she talks, she believes that what she's saying is amazing, insightful, never been said before, and that the audience are enraptured with the words that come spilling from her mouth. What she fails to recognise is that various glass eyes have fallen asleep, a number of people in the audience are wondering what they're going to make for their dinner, or did they leave the iron on, and around the world people shake their heads thinking, why on earth do they invite this woman to speak? We know she loves to talk about things. After all, every visit she goes on, she wants to make a grab for the mic, even trying to do so, albeit unsuccessfully, at the Kevin Costner event. She believes that the world wants to hear what she has to say. She believes that because she has a platform, that she does actually have something meaningful to say. But each time that she speaks, we're just subjected to nonsense. Platitudes, woke speak, this whole sort of therapy-esque nonsense that comes spilling from her flapping gums, which invariably means nothing at all. And yet, this is an internationally infamous woman who, if she actually put her mind to it, could speak properly about a number of issues, that she could actually draw attention to certain plights of various people around the world so that action is actually taken. But she doesn't care about anybody other than herself. All her narcissism does is use the plight of other people to make her look good, to talk about it and then move on, because after all, doing is so much more like hard work. She is intrinsically lazy, and her narcissism utilises that as a means to ensure that she just talks about things to get to the prime aims, rather than necessarily doing anything. I understand, for instance, that in relation to her new cookery show, she has decided that she's not actually going to be around for talking about it, that the promotion's to be left to other people, which had one celebrity chef with his jaw on the floor thinking, hang on a second, you make a programme, you've got to go around and do the promotion for it. Not this one's wife. She simply believes that because she's in it, everybody will come and watch it. That's her self-absorbed arrogance. And yet, this one's wife goes to Nigeria, claims a connection with that nation, and what does she actually do for them? Divert much-needed funds to her security, accommodation and flight costs, without actually generating anything useful for Nigeria or its people. Indeed, as I mentioned in parts passim, She singularly failed to address many of the issues that that country is experiencing, instead just floating around talking therapy speak and encouraging people to engage in behaviours whereby all she wanted to do was talk about herself rather than enable people to actually gain something meaningful. They were subjected to her talking about how she sees herself in them. What use is that to them? What does that even mean? Of course, it's the self-absorbed arrogance of this one's wife. But she doesn't do any prep. She doesn't do any homework so that she might actually come and talk from a point of knowledge, from a point of understanding about many of the challenges that are being faced. After all, given that she is 43% Nigerian and clearly cares so much about this nation, why are we not hearing from her in relation to a mass wedding for Nigeria orphans? Simi Holaso, writing for the BBC, tells us, the planned mass wedding of about 100 orphans has sparked widespread outrage across Nigeria. The orphans, some of whom are feared to be underage girls, are set to be married off on the 24th of May in the northwestern state of Niger. They have all lost parents to attacks by armed bandits who regularly target civilians across the state. Nigeria's Women's Affairs Minister, Uju Kennedy-Ohanye, said she has filed a court order to stop the ceremony. According to reports, the mass wedding was supported by the Speaker of the Niger State Assembly, Abdulmalik Sarkin Daji, who said local religious leaders had approached him for help funding it. The Imams Forum of Niger have said that the marriage ceremony should go ahead, insisting that the girls are not below the age of 18, the legal age of marriage. However, critics have expressed concern that some girls may be younger than 18 or are being forced to comply for financial gain. Minister Kennedy-Ohanye said that the girls deserve better and that her department was looking into who the 100 girls are, their ages, and whether they consented to the marriage. Her department will offer the girls education and training, she said, adding that if the Niger State Speaker attempts to block these efforts, there will be a serious legal battle between him and the Ministry of Women Affairs. On Friday, senior presidential aide Abidoun Essiet reiterated Ms. Kennedy-Ohanye's plan of action. Ms. Essiet added, "My appeal to all stakeholders is to stop embarking on policies and programs that exploit economically handicapped vulnerable people, increase and recycle poverty, and deepen ignorance." Human rights activists in Nigeria have launched a petition to stop the plan. As of Friday evening, it has 10,500 signatures. According to international campaign group Girls Not Brides, 30% of girls and 1.6% of boys in Nigeria are married before the age of 18. Some 12% of girls are married before their 15th birthday. Now, bearing in mind this is a country that has a population in excess of 200 million, and if the division by gender is roughly equal, that's 100 million, you can start to work out just how many girls are being married underage, and indeed those that are being married before their 15th birthday. This one's wife apparently wants to empower young women. Isn't that what she's all about? Isn't that what she regularly speaks about? She's apparently a strong independent feminist. So where is she with regard to this issue? Now, as I've explained before, one cannot expect her to speak out about every single issue that goes on in the world. That would be unrealistic. But given the fact that she has just been in Nigeria when this has come about, the fact that she regularly purports to want to empower young women, that she's 43% Nigerian, this is an issue that you would think would be absolutely nailed on for us to receive some beige word salad in relation to. But what do we get instead? Silence. Yes, the reason being, she probably doesn't even know about these things, because for all of her 43% Nigerian, she certainly hasn't dedicated 43% of her time to understanding Nigeria. That she doesn't care because she has no emotional empathy. That she only speaks when she's there because it suits her purposes. After that, Nigeria simply falls off the map. Indeed. She's got her sights trained on Ghana. Nigeria, go fuck yourself. You served your purpose. It's time to strip out the 43% Nigerian and insert 43% Ghanaian. This incident, which has occurred while she's been in Nigeria, that's when it came to prominence, that is still extant, that involves young women, that involves an issue which is one which would impinge upon the rights of women, you would think that a supposed feminist who loves to empower young women would be all over it, especially since it relates to the country that she claims such an affinity to and that she sees herself in the children of that nation. When some of the children of that nation are being married off under the age of 15, where is this one's wife? Nowhere to be heard, nowhere to be seen. Hardly surprising, and once again it demonstrates the hypocrisy of this narcissist. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.